Hello, and welcome to today's video. I'm not gonna lie, I am out of my mind exhausted right now. I couldn't really sleep last night I kind of dozed for a couple hours and then it hit like 11 p.m. and I was just awake, staring at the ceiling, very uncomfortable, not having a super fun time. So, today's video, all I can think about is how much I wish I'd been able to sleep better last night in terms of, having energy. But I'm actually pretty happy with how my night went, considering I could barely sleep most of the night. I did eventually get some sleep, but we'll get into the story. So here's what happened when I couldn't sleep. This was the worst insomnia I've had in almost a year, if not longer. It's been a long time since I've had insomnia this bad. But last night, there was just no hope for sleeping. And it didn't help that I have really bad eczema and my skin is going crazy like these last couple weeks because this time of year is usually the worst for my eczema. Like, it just gets so bad, like my wrists and my elbows and like my whole face and my neck just get itchy and rashy and puffy, and I'm pretty sure I'm allergic to a lot of things. Don't know for sure what all those things are, but my skin just doesn't feel great. And so I was sitting there unable to sleep and then just like itching my skin aggressively. It was a very bad combo, but finally I'm like, okay, I need to like reassess and do something different, because otherwise I'm just gonna wake up and there's just gonna be like marks all over my arms from me itching all night and not being able to sleep. I think the itching was part of why I couldn't sleep, but even if it wasn't for the itching, I still was like, I don't know, I was struggling. But so finally I was just like, okay, I'm taking a break from trying to sleep. And I was like, I'm just gonna take a nice warm shower. I tried to use like the minimal amount of products, and like I don't want to use anything that might make my skin angry. So I use a lot of really natural products for the most part. Like my shampoo isn't great, but I have to use like a dandruff shampoo because otherwise like I'll get flakes. And so I had to use that, which was the only like kind of sketchy thing. But then I used the brand Native for my conditioner, so super natural, makes my hair feel really nice. So I like that. And then I use just like Dove brand body wash, usually like the really moisturizing kind, because like I said, my skin gets so dry. But I have this like really calming facial cleanser, and I was just like, I'm gonna use this body wash, and I think it worked okay. Like, it was a little bit more low-key, but yeah, so I kept it like super simple on all my products. When I got out, I usually have this leave-in conditioner I put in my hair. I'm like, I'm just trying to like the least amount of things that could upset my skin as possible, so I just skipped that. I haven't washed my hair without using that in probably a couple of years. Like, I use it every day, so it was really weird to not use it. And then, yeah, so just kept it super simple. I didn't even put chapstick on after I got out. I did have to put on like my face lotion and some other just really natural lotion, just dermatologist recommended brands that are like the most like unabrasive possible options, because I was just like, I need my skin to calm down. And I feel like all that helped a little bit, and like the warm water was really soothing. So I was like, I was feeling a little bit better at that point, but I wasn't feeling sleepy at all. So I was like, next up, I think I'm gonna braid my hair. So I put my hair into a bunch of little braids, probably, I think there was around 6 braids on each side, maybe 7. So a bunch of braids, and that is why my hair is kind of poofy today. And actually, considering I didn't even use the leave-in conditioner, it's surprisingly soft and not as staticky as I was worried it was gonna be. So that's kind of exciting, and it actually turned out so cute. Like, I love the way that it looks today. Usually, like, I always want to like braid my hair to make it poofy like this, but usually like I'd have to like shower right before bed, and then when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, I want to wash my hair again because my scalp feels all annoying and whatever. But so this was at like midnight, between midnight and 1 a.m. I think. And so I was like, I'll braid it, best case scenario, I wake up in the morning and feel fine and just undo it and have fun poofy hair. Mid-case scenario, I just decide to wash my hair again in the morning, and it's whatever. It doesn't really matter. It was out of the way for the night because I kind of wanted it out of the way, because sometimes it like tickles my face, and so I'm like, go away, but I love my hair so much, so it's whatever. But yeah, so I ended up doing that, and as you can tell, I did end up just keeping it for the day because I woke up feeling okay. And I mean, especially since I had showered so late, like my scalp still feels relatively clean. So works out nicely. That was the start of my night. We're just getting into it. After that, I had my hair all braided, and I was like, I don't feel like sleeping, so I was like, well, I'm gonna like go hang out in the living room and maybe do some work. And then I got in there and I remember that I had a half-built Lego set. So it's almost 2 a.m. and I'm just sitting on the couch building Legos. And honestly, it was so chill. And I'm like, man, if this was how I had coped with insomnia in the past, I feel like I would have been so much happier. But unfortunately, I didn't. But this time it was great. So I worked on my Lego set. I didn't quite finish it since like I was just like, I had like an open bag that I had been working on like a week or two ago. And so I just finished that bag. I spent maybe 30-40 minutes on it. And then after that, I was like, all right, well now maybe I should do some actual work. So I've got an art commission that I needed to work on rough drafts for. So I was like, perfect. I'll just cuddle up with all my blankets on the couch and, you know, work on a couple of sketches for this art commission. And that was actually really fun. It's a little Pokemon one, so I was just having fun drawing the little Pokemons. I came up with like 2 alternative versions to show my customer and be like, okay, which one do you want? And then, so yeah, that was really fun. I spent maybe another 30-40 minutes on that. At that point, I was like starting to feel a little tired, but like I didn't feel ready to like get back in bed yet. So I just kind of like cozied up on the couch, got all comfy. I had my weighted blanket. I don't usually sleep with my weighted blanket anymore, but I really like it because it just makes me feel like all cozy and secure. And then I had another really just fuzzy blanket. And so I was just chilling on the couch. I turned my music on my phone and was just vibing. And that did the trick. I fell asleep. I probably slept for like 3 or 4 hours. And so like, I was just thrilled that I had gotten any sleep. It was pretty decent sleep. It wasn't like that top notch, like I felt super refreshed when I woke up sleep. It was on the couch. And don't get me wrong, my couch is relatively comfortable, but not as comfortable as a bed. Like between the 2 cushions, there's like this like gap that like I sink into whenever I'm on the couch. So I kind of like tried to like stuff a blanket in that, but it's still a little awkward. But so I woke up, I don't know, it was maybe like 6 a.m. at that point, and I was just like, well, I'm awake again. Now what? Like, I don't know. So finally I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try and go back to bed in my bed because I still, normally like 6 a.m. is around when I like to start the day. Oh, I remember why I woke up. It was because that was when I had my alarm set for, was for 6. And so my first alarm went off and I was like, maybe I should have turned those off. I don't know. It's probably for the best that I left it on just in case like I wanted to get up and going for that point, but I was still just so groggy. And I mean, like during the night as I was working on the Legos and like the art commission, like I could feel my body like knew that it needed to be asleep. And it was very upset that it was like, why are we not sleeping? And I'm like, this isn't my fault. I didn't choose to not be able to sleep tonight. but so yeah, it's like when I woke up, I still felt like I could tell that my body hadn't gotten the amount of rest that it needed. And so I was like, well, as nice as it would be to get up, I'll just go back to bed. And so I go back to bed and I walk in, I say hi to my husband. I'm like, I'm back to sleep. He's like, oh, hi. And so I get back in bed, and for the first little bit, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna fall back asleep. And then I just zonked out for like a couple more hours. It was really weird sleep though. It's like that sleep where it's almost like a feverish sleep. It's like your body's desperate to be unconscious, but it's also like kind of crazy. And I just had wild dreams. Like I had this super realistic, intense dream where it's like so much so to the point that I could like see people's faces and like kind of remember them, which is weird because normally like I think it's pretty like across the board normal that when you have dreams, like it's uncommon for you to like see and recognize or especially remember faces. Like I've heard it like it can happen, but it's like not the most likely thing to have happen. But like I was seeing people that I knew, they looked exactly like they did in real life, but also like people that I don't think I've ever met in real life, but like they had like very distinguishable features. And it was this whole thing about like so I go to the post office a lot because when I do my TCG player orders, I don't like to leave them in a mailbox for pickup because it's like sometimes it's like $50 to $60 worth of cards and envelopes. Like I'd rather just not worry about like the weather or like some kid getting into them. Like I don't know, I'm not gonna risk it. So I always just like 4 to 6 days a week I stop by the post office and drop them off. And so it was unsurprising that in my dream I was like driving somewhere with somebody and we stopped at the post office. In the dream, I don't know who she was supposed to be, but she was like, we were friends, I guess. So we were doing something together, but we get to the post office and I see my little brother there. And I'm like, what are you doing here at the post office? Like, but he was with, like a coach or something. He plays a lot of sports, so I guess in my brain it was like, but it was like a coach that I had known from when I was in like junior high or something. Like he worked at the school and he had a daughter my age, and so like I kind of knew him and whatever, and like did summer gym, and he was one of the coaches for it. But so in the dream is like he had kids my brother's age and was like giving my brother and them a ride somewhere. All of this was just a dream. It was made up, but it was very in depth. But like, so we kind of like say hi, because I'm like, obviously I'm gonna say hi to my brother. Like I'll be like, hey, like what's up? And you know, like we talk for a second, and my brother, he's in his senior year of high school, and he doesn't love going to school. Like he doesn't care about it a ton right now. He's got other things that he's more worried about. And so, but it's been this whole thing with my family. And so in my dream, I guess, my brain decided that it was like, that this was time for an intervention for him. But, and like that, and so like the coach guy had like made a comment about how often Tice missed classes and stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, I know. Like I work at my parents' house, and 90% of the time when I come over for work at like 10 or 11, he's still there. I mean, I don't think he has a first period class. Like he's got like free periods for a few of his classes and a couple of online classes and whatever. I don't know the exact situation, but I just know that he does skip a decent amount of classes. But so the coach guy was like, I think it's time for an intervention. And I'm just like, okay, you're right. And so I go to my friend and I'm like, I'm so sorry, but it's time for me to have an intervention for my little brother. And she's just like, oh, it's totally okay. Like, I got you, girl. Like, you go do that. And I'm just like, you're a real one. Thank you. And so there's like this playground in this little field by the post office in my dream, not in real life. In real life, there is no park, there is no field. It's just a post office and then this like big industrial center place. But in my dream, there was a park, and well, actually there might be a field, but like on the up, I don't know. In my dream, it was a very different layout of the area. But so we were gonna go hang out like in this little area in the field, and like the other kids that were with the coach guy were like, oh, we're gonna go play on the playground. And my friend, I don't really know where she went. Like I started following the guy, and I get over there, and I'm like, I can't find my phone. I think I left it in my car with my friend. And so I'm like all stressed, and so I'm like, can you start the intervention without me? I gotta go get my stuff. Which I feel like is such a weird thing. Like if you're having an intervention for someone, I feel like you probably want to be focused on that. But no, in my dream I was like, I gotta go get my phone. But yeah, so I go back over to my friend. It takes me a minute to find her and stuff, but like I run into the kids from the coach and I'm like, hey, have you seen my friend that I came here with? And they're like, oh yeah, she's just sitting over there at like the bench. And I'm like, thank you. So I go over there and I'm like, I don't know where my phone is. And she's like, she has like my backpack with her and like a couple of other things of mine, and like something had spilled. And so she was like, okay, I'm so sorry, like let's like pick this up. And then so I was explaining to her the situation. I'm like, I don't know how long like we're gonna be having this intervention. I feel so bad that I'm already like, the coach guy is starting the intervention without me. Like I really should be there. And she's like, don't even worry. I'm like, you're welcome to go home. Like I can get a ride with somebody else later now that I got my phone. It was really awkward though, because I did end up figuring out that I did have my phone with me. It was just my backpack I needed, and then I made this whole deal out of my phone. But I was like, whatever, it's fine. You know, something I would probably do and panic about in real life. So that was very realistic. But she was like so supportive, and I'm like, I don't know who she was supposed to represent like in real life, but she was such a real one. And I'm like, I'm trying to be like her. Like if I'm out with a friend and they suddenly need to have an intervention for their sibling, like I want to be as supportive as whoever she was. She's really cool too. Like her hair, I loved whatever was going on with her hair. That was one of like the really distinguishable features about her. Was she had, so it's like I could tell her natural hair color was darker, probably similar to mine, but like a little bit more like reddish orange maybe. But she had like these cool highlights that were like this purplish maroon color that I love, and then like a little bit of like this bright like auburnish orange, and then like little braids and stuff, and it was just immaculate. Her hair was immaculate. And I got really caught up on that detail because her hair was just really cool. And she was really cool too. I'm like, can you be a real person in real life? Because she was such a real one. I'm like, let's be besties. Because But yeah, and so she was so supportive. She's like, I got you your stuff, like, don't even worry, I'll just hang out here for like a while, like, even if it's a couple hours, like, don't stress it. And I'm like, why are you so nice? And so finally, like, I get all my stuff and I start heading back over to like participate in this intervention with my brother. And there was a couple other little bumps along the way of getting back there, and then I woke up and I was just like, whoa, okay, that was not very restful sleep, because that dream was, it was so intense, so detailed, like, it was absolutely wild. But then so finally I wake up and I'm just like, whoa, okay, what a night. And I sit up and I'm like, I think I'm done sleeping. I did my best. And so I got up and started getting ready. I was still pretty groggy because obviously it had been a really weird night, and the dream I don't think really helped, but like, it was such a vivid, wild dream, and I'm like, that is just so interesting. So yeah, that was my night. That's how I dealt with not being able to sleep well. But at the end of the day, it's like I got like 1 to 2 hours earlier in the night, and then I had my like 3-ish hours that I was awake, and then like 3 to 4 more hours, and then like 1 to 2 hours while I was napping. So overall, I got a pretty decent amount of sleep, but it was super broken up, and obviously like the quality of sleep was really questionable for a lot of it. But I slept, I survived, I'm up for the day, I'm doing things, and I'm so excited to go back to bed later tonight, let me tell you. It's funny, I was talking to my husband, like, when I woke up, he was just up getting ready for the day, about to leave for work, and I was just like, I said something about like, wow, I'm so excited to like go to sleep again tonight. And he's like, babe, that's great, because if you just keep that throughout the day, hopefully tonight you'll actually be able to sleep. And I'm like, I sure hope so, because don't get me wrong, last night was kind of fun. I liked doing the Legos and working on a little bit of art, and the dream was fascinating. It wasn't helpful for my quality of sleep, but it was fascinating. So like, overall, it was a pretty entertaining night. I'm not upset with it, but I can feel my body did not get the rest that it needed. So I'm excited to try again tonight. But yeah, so I guess this is now how I cope with insomnia. It was fun. It was pretty chill. So like, I didn't have a bad night. I just got bad sleep, which is kind of silly. But yeah, so that's how I cope with insomnia. I'm curious, what do you guys do when there's a night when you just, for the life of you, can't fall asleep or just like keep waking up? Do you like get up and do things? Do you go have a snack, or do you just lay and stare at the ceiling? Do you scroll on your phone? It's kind of funny, like the thought of like scrolling on my phone never even crossed my mind. I was like, no. I feel like I've gotten into a pretty good habit where like I don't usually want to do things like scroll on my phone. Like the only time that I end up scrolling on my phone is if I'm posting a video on an app, and while I wait for it to upload, a lot of the time I'll just put my phone aside and leave it on that screen so it can upload, and I'll work on something else, like if I'm at my computer, or sometimes like I'll go get a snack. But every once in a while it's like I'll just go back to the homepage for the app and like watch a couple videos. So that's usually the only time that I really scroll on social media now, which it used to not be that way. I used to pull out my phone a lot to scroll, and it's something I've consciously been working on. And I'm glad that I didn't like get into that last night, because I feel like if I did, it would have been 10 times harder to get back to sleep or sleep at all. So I was like, I think this is a good, like, healthy thing. But yeah, let me know what you guys do when you can't sleep. Like, I'm curious to know if there's anybody else that goes and builds Legos when they can't sleep. Let me tell you, that was the best, like, insomnia night activity. I am gonna remember that forever. And now it's preserved in this video. It was a little noodle shop set. It was adorable. So I had fun with it. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe as well, and I will see you guys next time.